Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing good. I am with IronSide Ranch, the YouTube channel. I wanted to bring them back on because the last time we were on got a lot of great questions, got a lot of positive reviews because we were talking about the beef industry and they were talking about what they do on their YouTube channel and how they deal with sustainable farming of raising of both pigs and beef. And there's some changes going on. So without further ado, how you doing?
Good, good. Appreciate you having me on again.
Good. And I didn't know if you wanted to be because my channel's named Economic Ninja, so people call me Ninja, but it's do we call you Ironside or what would you like me to call you?
Just Mackey's fine. We talked about this the other day that now that we bought crypto, I should go as a crypto cowboy, but I don't know anything about it, so yeah, that one wouldn't work. So we'll just go Mackey.
All right, cool. I like Mackey. So we were talking about the beef industry right before this interview, and there were some things that are really interesting because you're in real estate. And we're going to end up doing some real estate videos in the future, but there's a lot of things happening in the beef industry because you raise beef and sell it to private people, right? You've eliminated the middleman.
So that's all we do. We don't sell it all at the auctions or anything, and we raise pork, beef, and chicken. And what's really interesting is we're kind of seeing different pricing and stuff going on in the industry with all three of them, and they're all vastly different. And you and I just talked about with beef is that beef on the at the cattle auctions, the price has not changed remarkably. It's within probably 5% of what it was earlier. But what was really interesting is the cattle that I'm buying direct sale from other farmers, that price has almost dropped in half. And I don't really have a great answer as to why, but the price of it has dropped in half. And so I'm picking up cows a lot cheaper.
So everybody, I want you to realize something. We've been talking about inflation the whole year, and that's been, the whole driving story of the media pretty much all year worldwide. Inflation, inflation, inflation. And now we're about to hit you with something that's really interesting. And like Mackey says, he doesn't know why, but the cost of the animal itself for him to purchase it has dropped in half. Now that's deflationary, right? Now, I don't think before we all start running to the hills and saying, okay, the crash has started, I don't think that's it. And like Mackey says, he doesn't have a good answer for it, right, Mackey?
No, I really don't. And it may very well be the specific breed that we raise. So I haven't looked outside of what our breed is doing. But I just know that our breed, I'm getting at about half the price that I was. And that's registered stock. That's not like I'm buying scrub cattle. I mean, that it's registered stock for it. The chicken is going up. That's one thing that's very interesting.
Okay. Now we know the story about the chicken shortage that was going on at the beginning of the year. That was hitting headlines everywhere. And so that would sort of make sense if suppliers are trying to beef up their stock, or restaurants are, now finally able to get chicken into their stores. But beef's really interesting because a lot of people that saw our first interview, and I'll try and find it and link it if I can, there's so many videos now to find them, it's hard. But a lot of people are like, man, this is such a neat way of doing business because since you're selling directly to the end user, there's a lot of middlemen that have left. So your prices are competitive enough to where your demand right now has not waned, right? You've got great demand for your product.
Yeah, actually, ever since we did the interview on your channel, our demand has skyrocketed. So we really can't thank you enough for that. But our prices have not changed. Not with the inflation rates and everything that we're seeing last year. Our prices have not changed at all. And we're now, because of the price of the cattle going down, my profit margins are getting greater. And you're still, if you buy beef from me in bulk, you're able to get it at somewhere between about half to 70% of what you would pay at the store for that equivalent amount of meat.
So, and I love that because first off, I do not think you should lower your prices just because your costs are going down. And we're going to talk about feed in a second, grain. Your costs should not go down because you are staying competitive with the outside world, and that's why your demand is still strong. So I think it's super exciting to watch your profit margins explode. And I wanted to do this story because we were talking about what to do, and then all of a sudden I started hearing you talk about this, and I said we need to share this with people because it's one thing to say that you have a successful operation. It's another thing to say that you've inspired other people, because I love competition, good competition, and to share with people like, hey, if you're thinking about doing this, raising animals to sell them directly to the end user, butchered and packaged, there might be an opportunity here as beef is going down, yet the stores, because of all the people that have their hands in the pot, are running the prices up. Your profit margins are exploding right now.
Yeah. And that was one of the reasons that we started the channel in the first place, was really to help show other people how to do this and how we're following this model. And we're researching other cattle guys like Joe Soliton and Greg Judy and watching their models, and they have very similar models. And we're trying to kind of weave it together and make something that works down here in the Southeast that says, okay, this is how we can raise cattle in a healthy way. And the model is scalable. So whether you have 2 acres or 200 acres, the model is scalable.
Now, I want everyone to know, because you guys know the Economic Ninja wants to blow up other people's channels, because I didn't get the help from the guys that had bigger channels. Nobody wanted to, to give me a chance. So I said, the heck with it. I'm going to get big so I can make everyone else bigger than me. And so I'm going to link in the comments section, a link to Ironside videos channel, but I want you, Mackey, to send me a specific one that you'd like me to share so that people get a really good idea of what your channel's about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've got a number of them that I can send you, so I'll just go through and find one for you. But really, our channel is about. It originally started with us trying to teach other people how to do this, and as we've kind of grown and kind of developed our channel personality, we've come to the point to where we want it to be more along the lines of how do we become self-sufficiency, whether that's in cattle or in business, because I run several businesses, so Manuel and I know a lot about business, and so it was just the idea of how do we help people, like you always say, crush it in this economy right now.
Yeah, amen. I totally believe that, and it gets me super excited to see entrepreneurs' margins right now in an inflationary environment. Let me explain this, because a lot of people would say, well, that's wrong of you. You're just charging more and people are hurting. Well, everything's a choice in life, and we choose what we want to eat. And to be honest with you, sadly, I believe that pretty soon, because of inflation, beef will become so expensive. Chicken will be like the beef of yesterday for people's diets because they just can't afford it. But what you're doing is you're still staying, because I want people to understand this. Mackey would not be in business selling beef if he wasn't selling a good product at a reasonable price. So wherever those grocery stores are selling and he's able to stay lower, yes, he's able to generate hopefully better profits if, like right now, we don't know if this is going to last forever, the cost of the animal goes down or the grain goes down. That could change at any moment, right, Mackey?
Yeah, and it makes a difference for us because we don't feed a ton of grain. We're using for our pigs and our poultry, we have obviously grain in their diet, but the cattle we don't do any. The cattle are all strictly on hay, silage, and the salad bar beef that we have growing here. So for the chicken, that's what the really interesting thing is, because you talked about that with the chicken shortage and the processing issue, but it's also a feed issue, right? And so Kentucky just got thrashed by all those storms, and we know that there was an article the other day about how much damage that did to the chicken industry up there. So and we've got isolated incidents like that going on across the country that's creating bigger issues on the chicken market. I've done like 3 or 4 videos on the chicken shortage now.
Yeah, and I'm going to put this video also in the how to make money category of my channel, because I think it's so important what you're doing, showing other people how to be self-sustaining. And maybe they're not called to have a meat company, right? Raising beef for sale, but maybe they want to raise 1 or 2 for their own family and friends. And,
Yeah.
and your channel will be a great channel for people to get a start and say, hey, I could do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly why we started the whole idea on this being a scalable model. Like I said, you can do this for 2 cows, you can do this for 200, 2,000 cows. The model is 100% scalable, and it works for pigs and for chickens. And it's really based off of what Joe Salatin came up with back when he started doing this back in the 60s. And we kind of just based it on his ideas there.
That's awesome. All right. Well, hey, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you got a lot going on between real estate and feeding cattle. So do you have anything to say in closing?
Just, hey, I really appreciate you bringing me back on, and always enjoy talking to you. I can't wait to do some more interviews with you and get this questions and answer thing that we talked about.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, glad to have you on, and we will talk to you later. With that being said, guys, the Economic Ninja is out.